Hi everybody, welcome to Power Bites with Purva. This episode, how can I describe it? Those of you who know me, I'm very feel passionate about the community, helping the community, building up the community. And today's guest is everything about building the community, everything about helping the small business owner, and everything about bringing everybody together. Please welcome Lauren Cates, Eat Loco owner. Thank you so much, Lauren, for
Thank you.
being here, spending this time, and agreeing to do this and talking with me.
No problem. Thank you for having me. This is a pleasure.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Can you tell us how this started and just introduce our viewers to me? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. And I don't know if you know some of my background because
I don't.
I took a very twisty, turny road to get here. So
Please.
my degree is in fine art, actually painting and printmaking from Virginia Commonwealth University. So I was an artist. And then I was an art teacher with Fairfax County Public Schools for a little while.
Okay.
I had two of my children, stopped working for the public schools to stay home and raise my children. And in the meantime, I developed a love for cooking. And my art degree helped because I started baking a lot as well, cooking and baking and making cakes for people. And they became more and more elaborate as I learned how to do that because I could use my art skills. So I started baking for other people. And then while my kids were really young, I really didn't have much time just while they were napping and in bed and things like that.
Yeah.
So I started entering cooking contests. And so then I did cooking contests for a really long time and I became weirdly successful with it.
That is awesome.
It was a good combination of a lot of my skills, and it's funny because that is how that has translated to Eat Loco as well, to running farmers markets. I like to write, I like to take photos, I like to design, and so writing recipes was kind of my thing. And then anyway, I've been in the Pillsbury Bake Off, and then I did a TV show. I did the Great American Baking Show, and I won that about 10 years ago. Yeah, see, I don't know if you know all this stuff.
We have a celebrity in the room.
No, but I've done, so that was on ABC, and I've been on Good Morning America, and I did all these fun things.
Oh my God, now I
was-
feel overwhelmed.
No,
here.
it's okay. It was really fun for a stay-at-home mom because I got to travel. I won trips. I won a little bit of spending money for myself because my husband was the main breadwinner. So it just kind of made it like just something fun to do, and I got little breaks, and it was great. And then now fast forward, my kids are much older now. I was working at a bakery, a gluten-free bakery. Actually, one of my kids has celiac disease and some other food allergies. And I kind of cut ties with the bakery and decided to go off on my own. And I did my own little bakery. And I was actually a vendor with Eat Loco.
No kidding.
Yes,
really?
so I had my own little baking business. I also did food tours for Dan. So Dan Hine is the previous owner. You've probably had him on before and talked to him. And he founded Eat Loco. And I did food tours as well as like a celebrity chef where I took people around the market. We tried different things. We got samples of just some really good food.
Oh, wow.
And it was fun. So I did that for a while for him. And then there was an opening suddenly for the director of operations job. And I called him and I said, do you think I could do this? And I said, I'll try it for 2 weeks. And if I don't like it or you don't like it, I was like, I'm out of here. You don't need me. Like, I'll leave. But I did it for a couple of weeks and I loved it. And I was like, this is what I want to do because I get to do food. I get to write. I get to talk to people. I get to do all the things that I like to do. A little design work with designing the market layouts and things like that. Marketing, just all the things that I've been doing. And there's no pressure on me to compete or do the baking. Oops, sorry. There's no pressure on me to do anything myself. I mean, I do have to do things myself, but not to create things all the time.
Right. You're kind of mainly management part and
more
everything,
management,
right?
yeah. And just kind of the bigger picture of all the venues and the markets and how I can help other people build their small businesses. So I've been in that situation of building my small business, trying to find a way to make a little bit of extra money when I was home as a stay-at-home mom.
Right.
So I think a lot of our vendors are in the same position.
I agree.
Some of them are doing it to make a living, and some of them are doing it to make a little extra income. Some of them are doing it because they're passionate. I mean, they're all passionate about what they make, but some of them, it's just a pure passion project. Some of them are retired, and this is something to do with their retirement. And so we have all different situations, but I love being able to help other people do what I did.
And build their business in that. How was that a conscious decision, or that just happened gradually for you, where like, okay, let me start this, let me shake hand with Dan and go from there? How did that?
To actually buy the company?
Yeah.
So at first I was saying, I don't want to buy the company. I knew he wanted to sell it because he was trying to retire. He bought a house down in South Carolina, and he's been doing it for a long time. And I think his wife wanted to retire as well. She had a small business as well. So we had a few other people interested in the market, and I was kind of encouraging him, oh yeah, that one's good, let's do that, I'll talk to them. And we were working together with that. And the last one we talked to fell through, and it was right about when the government shut down. And my husband's a government contractor. He has his own contracting business. And so he got a little bit nervous. His contracts weren't cut, but there was a little bit of a what if it did happen and we had no income. So I was like, well, jokingly, Eat Loco's for sale. We could buy Eat Loco, and that could be something we could do together, and I could do it for now, and then eventually when you retire, you can help me. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, are you serious? Can we do this? Like,
oh, wow.
So then we looked very carefully into, can we do this? And it was a bit of a stretch for us, but we decided to just go for it. And I'm so happy that I did. I feel like it's the best decision I've ever made. And I love it.
Really?
Yeah.
So there was this saying, I think I was reading a book where I'm a big book reader. There's a book that says, if you are constantly in the comfortable situation, that means you're not growing.
That's true.
A little bit of stretch, a little bit of putting yourself in the uncomfortable situation means you're learning something. That means you are gaining more knowledge and just growing yourself up.
No, I agree with that. I love a challenge. I think that's why I pushed myself to do like TV shows and competitions, because I like to be on the edge of like making myself a little bit uncomfortable to grow. And this has been the same thing. And it has that same feel to it, and I love it. And I feel like I'm taking ownership of something literally, but also kind of figuratively. Like, I've never really had my own thing to shape.
Right.
I guess I have, but it's been
your bakery,
my bakery, my family,
things.
That's true. I guess I have had my own things to shape, but that's what I like doing. So I think that is, and I get to still have a lot of freedom.
Do you get to a lot of freedom?
Yeah,
Isn't that
I really do.
Gets you, because you are, how many farmers market you are running currently?
We have 5 right now. I'm hoping to grow by 1 or 2 next year.
Wow.
I would love that, because we can. At this point, we can scale it. And we're looking for new locations. We're actively looking for new locations. We have a couple that are in mind. But, we have to find venues that are amenable.
Accommodate everything and all that details about it.
Exactly.
Amazing. So you do get a little bit of time in your head to do this?
I do. Well, I'm still running a household with, 2 of my kids are grown up, so I shouldn't say they don't require so much
attention of yours.
Yeah. And one of them lives outside of the house and the other one's in college, so sometimes they're outside of the house. But my youngest is still in high school, so I have that. We have 2 dogs. I have a household to run.
Wow.
And my dogs are high maintenance. They're English bulldogs, so they take a lot of attention.
They're
very cute. They come to the market all the time. If you see 2 almost identical English bulldogs, those are my dogs. And it's so funny. They get so much attention. People don't know that they own the market. They're the dogs of the market. We want to get them little vests that say mascot or something like that.
Oh my God, that would be so cute.
Yeah, so they're adorable. So I have a lot of stuff just in general. I've lived in this area a long time. I volunteer a little bit in the area too. So I have a lot going on all the time. Yeah. But the nice thing about this is I can go home and work on my computer in between things. I can bring it with me. I can at night if I want to work at night. Because there's no boss telling me like you have to be here from 9 to 5 behind your desk.
Right.
I do it.
You manage wherever the time you get, and you're trying to manage and everything.
Yeah.
A little bit backstory is like I was in between where I was like in the transition phase. I shifted from California, and I'm like, while I'm getting my real estate license, I want to just look at everything. And I am a big believer that you need to pour yourself a little bit something into your community that you are living in.
Yes.
Just help out as either way, doesn't matter which way, but help out in the community. And I was looking at farmers market, and I saw, of course, Eat Loco. I live in Ashburn as well. So I'm like, oh, this is right here. I would love to just do volunteer. So I called Dan, and he's like, there's a volunteering position, but we are looking for a market manager. I met him at the Brambleton Library, and he's like, okay, you start. And then he was questioning, he's like, are you going to be able to do it? I'm like, you hire me and you wait for it to see.
Yeah.
And first Sunday, I was at the Brambleton, and of course, there were people to help me out a little bit. But just to see how organized it is, how well balanced it is, the way people are walking, not just people, I think entire vendor community. It was just so amazing to me to see that, how well run, well organized that is. And that I came home to my husband and I'm like, this is amazing. I think I'm
Well,
just
I can't take credit for that because Dan built that, and he deserves all that credit.
Right.
He really did an amazing job building this from the ground up. It was very
agree.
small at first with just a handful of vendors, and he grew that to multiple locations,
Right.
big markets. I mean, our Ashbrook market often has 90
Yes.
plus vendors,
Yep.
and it runs all year round, and so does Brambleton. So he really built that, and then we have two in Met Park that Amazon actually is our partner
Yeah.
over there and
Yeah.
sponsors us at their headquarters. And then we have a brand new one this year in Reston. So,
Reston.
and that one I'm going to take credit for that one because I pretty much built that one after Dan had already moved. So
Wow.
I'm really proud of
Wow.
that because Reston has been fantastic. We love being in Reston.
What was when you started Reston? So when you started everything from a scratch in Reston, what was something that you found it like, whew, this is difficult. What am I doing? Was there
Yeah.
any point where you felt that?
There's been a little bit of a struggle, and this is maybe a good place to talk about it because we can get people to go to the right place. We are in a community called Hallie Rise,
Okay.
which is a beautiful mixed-use community. It's fairly new, so it's still going to be built up, and it's
Growing
going
and
to be
everything.
this amazing place. The people that own it actually own I think it's called Seaport in Boston. So if you've ever been there, it's this
Oh,
huge,
yeah.
beautiful community, and they do
Community
lots
and
of
everything. Yeah,
activations
yeah.
and things like that. So they have high expectations, and they were like, we would like to do a farmer's market here. The shopping center, there's a Wegmans in it, the Reston Wegmans.
Yeah.
There's several parking lots. So when we first went out there, we're like, okay, what would be our optimal space? And we trying to figure that out because there's a lot of logistics that people don't realize into building a farmer's market. There's traffic
sure.
flow. There's flow of not only the customers walking, but driving and parking.
Parking.
And so this shopping center has parking on either side of the market, but once the market's there, nobody can drive through.
Oh.
And it's the only way, unfortunately, to get through from one side to the other. So the only other way is to go all the way around. So, and that's what we're trying to have people do because there's about 1,000 parking spaces, all free on the other side, but nobody knows to drive there. So they're going the way where there's much less parking. There's still some parking, but
not enough.
Not enough. So that will fill up, and then people will get upset because they can't find a parking space, and they'll turn around and they might leave. Whereas if they turned around and went all the way
right on
around,
the other side.
yeah, so they just have to take Edmund Halley Drive in toward the metro stop and then just make a right, and there's 1,000 parking spaces all for free. We've covered the parking. Eat Loco's covered the parking there. It's normally it is a paid parking lot during the week.
Right.
But on Sundays from 9 to 1, it's 100% free. You don't have to log in anything. So that just dispelling that has been a huge issue. So we've gotten all sorts of signs. We've tried to do it with signs. I mean, that's been my biggest problem over there. The market itself is great. That and the weather. On Sundays, we've had several bad weather days. But now it's picked up the last couple of weeks. It's been beautiful, and more people
It's getting better.
Yes, thank goodness. It was freezing until 2 weeks ago. I was wearing a hat and gloves.
Oh,
so,
boy.
Yeah, but the Reston community is really grateful to have a big market. They have beautiful smaller markets. There's another one in Reston at Lake Anne that is a producer-only farmers market. We're a little bit different. We have artisans, we have crafters, we have bath and body products. We do have farmers as well, and then everything in between. So we're a little bit more open with what we allow at our market.
Everything. Is there a strategy, or is there something you specific look for a small business owner that you say yes, get on the board?
Yeah, it's tricky, and this has been a little bit of a learning curve for me, trying to balance the market, as you were saying, to have a mix of different vendors, because you don't want to have all the same type of vendor.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be fair to them either, because
Correct.
the sales don't get
Yeah,
spread
yeah.
evenly amongst the vendors. So when they apply, I do look at their application, I look at their social media, I look and see what their products are. Some of them are brand new and they don't have a lot of that, and I'll talk to them. And if I get the feeling like they're serious about their business, sometimes I will just give them a chance. And sometimes if they really don't seem like they're ready, they don't have anything in order, like if they need health permits, they haven't even talked to the health department, that kind of thing, sometimes I'll know that they're just not quite ready yet. And I really just try to get a feel for it. If it's somebody with a product and I look at it and I say, oh, I think this is something people might like, I'll pull them in and accept them. And then, like I said, the balance is hard. Like, we really struggled this year. We had so many coffee vendors that applied, so many lemonade vendors that have applied. And we have ones from previous years that are kind of grandfathered in, for the most part, if they apply on time. Yeah, so it's really a balancing act.
Balance.
Yeah, it's really, it's like, I always say it's like having a giant wedding reception and you have to seat everybody at different tables, but some of them don't get along and some of them can't be next to other ones. And yeah, so it's, if you imagine that times
You
5.
have put it perfectly that it's like a giant wedding
Well, you've
table.
done it, so you know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've done it. And you're dealing with different personalities of vendors, which I love.
True.
And some of them want to be in the same spot every week. Some of them are very particular with how they set things up and how early they arrive. Some arrive super early, some arrive at the very last second. So, you know, you've done it as well. I think it is actually so entertaining, and I love it. And I think somebody should make a reality show of the market.
Oh my God, that is a great idea.
It would be hysterical.
I agree.
I mean, some of the situations that happen at the market, you just wouldn't even believe.
Oh boy.
So, and the customers coming in don't know any of this is happening. They just are walking around enjoying it, and that's great. That's what we want. We want everybody to have a nice enjoyable time.
Enjoy the Sunday, Saturday morning. It's so true when you said it. There was one time I was at the market and I think something happened with some manager or something, and one of the managers like, I quit, I can't take this anymore in the middle of the market.
Oh no.
And he quit.
Oh no.
And I was like, what are we doing
Maybe
now?
that was when I got hired. That might be when I got hired. Because that's what happened when I got hired.
Really?
So
okay, so you probably
that
know
might
this.
be exactly when I got hired.
That was the show. I'm like, oh, so that's when you said like reality show, I'm like, yes, for sure. That would be very entertaining.
Well, and our market managers all have very fun personalities as well, and they all have other jobs. This is often a supplemental income for them as well. And I have the best team of market managers. They're all amazing. I mean, there's not a single one that I could do anything without
them.
Yeah.
They are the very important pillars to run the market.
Oh, yeah. It wouldn't run without them.
I've
tried to do it by myself. I think it might have been Easter this year. There was nobody available. So my husband, my son, and I went to Reston and tried to do it all by ourselves. And it worked, but it was pure chaos. Actually, maybe it wasn't Easter, but it was a holiday of some sort where nobody could come. And it was crazy.
Oh, boy.
So I really depend on all my market managers. My senior market manager, Mark, who's been with us for a long time before I've been there. You probably know Mark.
I know Mark.
He is fantastic.
He is amazing.
And he will talk to anyone and he loves talking to people. And he's great.
He's a great personality. He's there to help out. He's talking to people, make sure everybody is comfortable and everything. So he is amazing.
So friendly.
Definitely. When you are hiring this manager, is there a specific thing that you feel you look for that I think I want this? I think this is not going to work for us. Is there anything specific that you look for?
There is. And it's kind of it's not a hard job necessarily mentally. It's physically a hard job because you can be out in the heat. In the winter, you're out in the freezing cold. You're on your feet. Rain or shine. You're on your feet the whole time. So you have to be able to get in. I mean, sometimes I've gotten more than 20,000 steps. Wow. Mark often gets 25,000 steps I don't know how he does it, but yeah. So it's a very physical job. You're lifting some not super heavy, but like a lot of things, cones and moving things around. You have to be friendly, but you also have to be a little bit firm because sometimes the vendors or customers might do something that's breaking one of our rules.
True.
And it's hard because we're friends with all the vendors, but we also have to enforce our rules to keep safety and to keep order, and so that nobody else, because the other vendors will see, oh, you're letting them do that, why can't I do that? So I mean, it's actually just this tightrope walk every day, and I love that. It's a challenge.
Sure.
So when I'm hiring the vendors, they have to be able to be firm but personable, be in good enough physical shape that they can be on their feet the whole time in the heat. Those are my main requirements. And then they also have to be reliable, because if you don't show up,
important.
Yeah, if there's 2 or 3 of them working and one doesn't show up, that's going to put all that work on the other two. So not to say you can't get sick, but if you do get sick, you have to let me know so that I can call somebody else in. And they do. They're all, I mean, everybody's tip top.
So great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's great.
About all different market, do you plan out a strategy that I want this market to showcase certain things and this to certain and this? Because
sometimes,
like, each location has a different community, and community expect different things, and each location offers different things. Do you strategize that way?
Sometimes, yes, because like, for instance, what works at Brambleton is a really sweet little community market. It's a little bit smaller. It's still a nice size, and it's actually grown a little bit because we've expanded around Emberbrook Circle, which is wonderful. And we have a lot of hot food around Emberbrook now, and then we have Olympia Drive. And that market, for some reason, there's certain things that don't sell well there. Flowers, I don't know why. We've had a couple of flower vendors there, and for some reason they just haven't done as well as they've done at Ashbrook or Reston. So there's things like that are just like little things that I know, and when somebody applies with one of those products that I don't think is going to do well at Brambleton, I'll say like, hey, you might want to try a different market.
Okay.
I can take you at this one. And so I will kind of coach them sometimes. Or if I have a vendor at one market that wants to go to a different market, Met Park in Arlington is very different. It's a different crowd. It's a little bit of a 20-somethings, a lot of 20-something crowd, lots of dogs, not as many. There are some young kids, but mostly not. Yeah, couples, friends that come and meet. Yeah, so it's a very different crowd, different products. I look for a little bit of like sometimes a hipper product that maybe is a little more edgy. Meat doesn't sell as well there for some reason. I don't know if there's a lot of vegetarians there, or if people, I don't know why. Yeah. Maybe it's because they have an apartment and they're not wanting to carry a bunch of meat around. I don't know. But yeah, Met Park Tuesday, we do almost all hot food because we're catering to the employees that work at Amazon, and they really just seem to want to come down, get lunch, and go back. And they don't really buy a lot of, like, they're not going to go jewelry shopping on their lunch break.
True.
You would think they would. Wow. I would if I worked for Amazon,
but they don't.
They don't. So yeah, so I will steer people away.
Is it more like a try and tested things, and then you figured out, okay, I think this works, this doesn't work?
Sometimes, yeah. And sometimes I will say, if you want to give it a try for one or two markets, see if you like it, and if you hate it and it's not working for you, just let me know and we'll move you. So I try to be a little bit more flexible, because I want all of my vendors to do well. They each have a business, they each need to make an income, and I really want to see them all succeed. So we often work with them as well, like developing their booth. So if you're a brand new vendor and you've never done this before, and you don't have signage and you don't have a menu or something like that, we can help you. We can help them with that. And I give unsolicited advice to them because of my baking and my cooking. And I don't think they know that that's why I'm giving it to them. But like, I know from being in the cooking industry what could work and what could improve their product. And they're probably like, why is she telling me to put this in this? And yeah, so, but I do that.
Wow, I was going to ask you that question, that like, because you had experience, do you have vendors coming to you and asking like, hey, so what's your advice? Would you do this? How do I handle this or something?
I do it without them asking. I just say like, hey, you have an amazing product, but if you did this, I think it would sell better, because sometimes it's just how many are they selling? Like if you're doing a
Right.
package of cookies and you're only selling a dozen, maybe not everybody wants a dozen cookies. Maybe some people want 6 or 3
Three,
or
right.
1. So you might want to have a variety of different size packages, like that kind of information. It's just easy
Cool.
peasy.
Yeah.
Or maybe you'd sell more if your employee wasn't sitting on their cell phone the whole time and looking down. If you're making eye contact and you're trying to talk to people and you're friendly, that one's a hard one to tell people, but it's true.
It's
That's a
true.
huge
I agree. I
difference.
agree. Sometimes people just want to take the criticism in a right way, or
Yeah.
they don't want to have it. I know what I'm doing, please.
I have had a couple vendors do that, and that's fine. They don't have to take my advice. But the ones that do take my advice usually do better. And it's funny because we do occasionally have a vendor that isn't doing well. They're struggling. And I will sometimes say, like, I think your price point's a little bit too high. You have to compare. And it's so hard to say that. We don't dictate prices to our vendors, but you have to be competitive in that market. So if I'm
True.
selling, I'm trying to think of something that nobody sells so they don't think milk, let's say, and mine is 3 times the price of what you could get at the grocery store. People know it is going to be a little bit more expensive at a farmer's market,
Yes.
because this is a handmade product.
Products.
Somebody is milking their own cows.
True.
But there's only so much they can afford to go above what they normally
Right.
spend. So you have to
Right.
kind of straddle
Balance
that
it out.
line. Yeah, it's hard.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
How did you feel when you stepped into Eat Local and managing this gigantic farmers market, so many locations, and
Yeah.
you introduced one? Did you have to switch your hat from bakery owner to being a celebrity chef to doing this? Was there a point where you were like, okay, this hat's off and this hat's on?
Kind of. I'm a very take charge kind of person. Like whatever I do, I kind of take charge of it. So it's really not that much of a stretch for me, but I did have to take on more back end, I say, things like on the computer. Then I am not really, I've never had a job where I sat behind a computer and did stuff.
Right.
I've always had
You
a hands.
lucky.
I know, I am lucky, but I've always had a hands-on creative job.
That is
I've never, I mean, none of my jobs have paid that much. I will say, like, I definitely, so it's one thing, you can have a job where you make a lot of money, or you can have a job where you're happy. And I've been very, very
chose.
lucky that I've been allowed to have jobs where I'm happy and I want to do them.
Exactly.
And that's the only reason I did them. But if you are dependent on that income, you don't always get to choose. And I understand that. But right now I feel like I'm not making money yet because I still owe a lot of money. But but I will.
Soon.
But one
You'll be
day,
there.
one day in about 5 years, I will pay myself.
It's people think owning a business is very luxurious, very
No.
amazing, but they often just move past. They don't see it. There's so many things that goes behind
Yes.
running a business. There's small things, big things. There's so many things, right? What is something that you feel like you learned entering into this one?
I've learned a lot about contracts, contract law. I've learned a lot about computer systems, and Smartsheet in particular is what we use right now. I think I'm learning that if I make a mistake, which I do often, especially when you're learning, and I said this up front to all the vendors, I am going to make some mistakes. This is my first time doing this from this side. So just cut me a little slack. I will apologize. Like if I do something wrong, I'm sorry, this is my fault, and let me fix this for you. And I'm just trying to fix things that I've messed up. A lot of that.
It takes a lot of guts to just come out and tell your vendor that, okay, this is on me. I understand this is where I went wrong, but let me fix it. So that just shows as a leader how incredible you are and how open you are to take care of the things in that. And I think a lot of people just look at that more than what the mistake has been happening.
Yeah, they've been really great. The vendors have been fantastic. The staff's been fantastic. Like one time, the first month when I was doing payroll, I forgot to pay one of the staff because I was spacing it out to pay them on different days. bank thing. I'm not allowed to pay
Yeah,
certain number of
certain
things
number.
per day. So I put that person, I was like, okay, I'll do that tomorrow. And then I totally forgot. And it was sitting there in the box and I never hit pay.
Send.
Yeah. So that person came up to me and was like, I didn't get my paycheck. Did you send it? And I was like, let me check. I thought I did. And I went back and looked and saw it sitting there. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's like the most important thing. And I messed it up. And I was so apologetic. But, you know, just like little things like that when you're first starting. But I'm really trying. I've learned from other jobs that I've had as well. I really want to treat the staff the way that I would want to be treated. I'm really trying to pay them well, treat them well. If they need a day off and they let me know, give them their day off. Like there's never any hassling them because they are the ones I'm counting on to make this all happen. And it's so important to me. And every time I email them, I'm like, thank you guys so much. You're amazing. This is the best. And I really mean it every single time. So if they get to watch this, they are all like so valued.
That is so amazing.
Yeah, I love them. So yeah, so it's been great. And I value Dan a lot too, I should say too, because I talk to him on the phone all the time. Well, right now he's in Costa Rica on a trip. He's enjoying his retirement right now, which I love. But I call him up all the time. He calls me. We've gotten to be friends. We just chat sometimes.
So amazing.
I mean, we'll talk about everything. And yeah, we're just, it's weird. It's like he somehow became one of my best friends.
Oh, and Dan is that personality, you know,
he's
where
friendly.
he's very friendly. And I think I always see him as every time I saw him, I entering in the market and he's there and he just gives me that, you know, pop-up feeling for me.
Yeah.
Like he's there, ready to help. How can I help you? What do you need?
He's willing to do, and I've learned so many things from Dan that I have like a, what would Dan do? Like Dan sitting on my shoulder, like you should do it, you should do this. But he will like go up and he'll go up to the vendor. Well, this is the other thing about Dan is he can be intimidating because he's very tall.
Yes.
He's very, very tall and he has a deep voice.
Yeah.
And so he would go up to vendors and he'd walk up to me and go, hey. Sorry if that sounded really loud.
No.
But that's what he would do. But he meant it in a friendly way, like, hey, hi, how's it going? But it's terrifying if you're a vendor and you think you're doing something wrong.
You will be like, what?
But what I've learned from Dan is how to balance that. And I'm like, he will be the first to tell you I'm not as good at it because I'm too friendly and too nice to everybody. But you have to have them a little bit like a balance. Like they can't think you're their best friend because then they will take advantage. And he was so good at like walking that line of like being in charge, being a little scary, but also being
friendly
and nice. And if they did have a true problem, they could go to him and he would
I agree.
fix it.
I agree. He was walking right there on that line where it's like if he enters in the market, everybody is going to step back and
they
be like,
kind of like, oh, Dan's here.
Behave.
We better be on our best behavior. And it's funny because when I walk in, they're all just like, oh, Lauren's here. It's fine. They don't have that reaction at all, which is, I need to maybe work on that. But if somebody does cross me, and there's been a couple of vendors that have crossed the line, I will, you know.
You need to, I think, right? And
I'm trying.
It's good to be friendly, but at the same time, you gotta have that line. And I think a lot of vendors will understand gradually as well because, like, this is the business time. Yes, we are helping out everybody, but then you have to make sure you follow the rules as well and everything.
They do, yeah, they're great. We have amazing vendors too.
It's great. What is something that I feel when you're running the market, when you shifted from that to this, and now you're trying to expand and looking at different locations and everything, do you make sure that, okay, Western Market is like this, Brambleton is like this, Met Park is like this, I want to have something different over here? Is there a thought process, or you just want to go from, okay, we have a thing set up and ready, why don't we just replicate it?
I'm never trying to replicate the market exactly because each market has its own feeling and its own sort of, the layouts are different, the type of community is different, what the community likes is different. But I do look for a location where I think they need a farmer's market. I don't want to be somewhere where there's already 5 markets. That doesn't help me, it doesn't help them. And I'm not trying to compete with another market or ruin their business or anything like that. So there are some locations that I've identified as being kind of like a hole where there's no market. And that's more what I'm looking for right now, a place that needs a market and that I think their community will appreciate having a market.
Got it.
So I have a
Mainly
couple
on that.
secret ones in my head that I've identified. One, I really, really would like to have a market there because it's a large housing development that doesn't have a market.
Market over there.
And it's hard because you also have to convince the HOA that you're going to be neat and careful and clean and clean up after yourself and things like that. And I understand why it's scary to have a bunch of people or to invite a lot of crowds, volume of people coming into your community. So that's also something they need to,
Think about and decide and everything.
Yeah.
Do you see a different crowd reaction for a different market? Because, I mean, I understand you mentioned that like flowers doesn't work in Brambleton, but it works very well in Reston. But people's expectation is different from the each market as well?
Yeah, I think it's been really interesting coming into Fairfax County. I grew up in Fairfax County. I'm super familiar with it. But most of the other markets in Fairfax County are run by the county. So we are coming in as something different than what they already have. And that has the response has been amazing. Like they are thrilled to have something a little bit different. Not that there's anything wrong. They love their other markets and they're loyal to those other markets, but they also, this is a different experience that they can have on a different day. So I knew there was a market on Saturday in Reston. So we specifically put ours on a Sunday so they can do both and have a totally different experience. So I do try to kind of balance that out a little bit.
Interesting. I want to go back to where you said you love cooking, and that's where you started the baking and everything. A little bit about myself. While I was in a transition with IT to real estate world, I was a chef in Boston.
I didn't know that. Oh, cool.
I was a chef in an Italian restaurant.
Oh, wow.
In Boston, and I wanted to open my restaurant, and that's where I'm like, okay, let's go, take all the education that I can and everything. We were ready to open the restaurant. I had the menu prepared. Everything was ready. We were going to put down the money to get the place. And that's the day I found out that I'm pregnant with my little kid.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, we'll put the pin to it and we'll circle back when we come back. So one of the reasons to enter in the farmers market was like, I would love to see all the different vendors, learn from them and see how they are executing everything. And that was one of the piece that...
Well, we could have Purva's Italian restaurant one day at the market. That could be your booth. That would be fun.
So when you started that, when you were doing cooking and being a chef and being a bakery owner, and was that piece when you started it? I see that the way you talk about farmers market, it comes very naturally to you, everything, because what has happened before, right? When you started that piece, was that a struggle for you to get to the stage where you can be like, oh, I've been into a TV show, oh, I have done this. How was that journey looked like for you?
I mean, everything just kind of happened in the way that it was supposed to. Like, I just think that it was all kind of a road. Life is a road, right? And you're going along this road, and there's going to be I sound very cheesy. There's going to be twists and turns.
I completely agree.
And I just feel like I kind of follow whatever I'm interested in doing. And if an opportunity comes up, I think a big thing in life for anyone is noticing when there's an opportunity and jumping on it. And a lot of people let opportunities just pass them by.
True.
And you never know which one is going to lead you to something better. So if you just kind of let it go, you might be missing out on some great things. Even if it's not something you exactly think is going to be your thing, you give it a shot. Like, I didn't think being the director of operations might be something I'm not good at. Like, I was afraid it was going to be too much, and I don't know if I want to be an administrative person and have to do computer work and stuff like that. But I actually really enjoy it because I'm also somebody that likes to check things off a list.
Oh.
Like, I like to make lists. I like to check them. I like to feel like I finished something and I've accomplished something. And with this job, I can really do that several times a day, hundreds of times a day. So there's something kind of satisfying about that. Even doing some of the computer work, I find very kind of therapeutic. Yeah.
So when you say like you or somebody who identified opportunity and jump on it. How did you, let's say, talk about farmers market, for example. How was that opportunity you felt that, okay, this is an opportunity, I think we should jump on
As far as buying it,
it? Yeah.
that was the scariest thing because that's the biggest investment I've ever made. I mean, nothing even close to that. And it's more than buying a house. I mean, buying a house was scary.
Buying
the
a
first
business
time.
is a whole different story than buying a house.
It's even scarier because a house is going to at least hold its value with the market. If I mess up on my business, the whole business could go away. And especially with a business like farmers markets that doesn't exist. And so this was the really interesting part. When I was buying it, the banks were like, we can't give you a small business loan. There's no collateral. There's nothing to this business.
Wow.
So that was really scary because I couldn't get a small business loan. So then, this is probably TMI, but I'm very open with like finances and stuff. I had to take a lot of personal and use my house as collateral and things like that to buy this business. So you can tell my whole heart is in it. My whole life is invested in it, and I need it to work. I want it to work.
Right.
But so far, everything's been great.
That's good.
Knock on wood. Yeah. I mean, it could just go poof, and then I will be poor, and then I'll be homeless, and you guys are going to have to help me. But
it's never going to happen, Laura.
I hope
It's
not. I hope not. But but it's a thing that your head, like, you're spinning like this could happen.
You are scared when you run a business.
Scary.
It's like people think, as I said, like people think running a business is very, oh my God, so awesome, or oh my God, it's very fancy, but it's actually not.
Yeah.
You don't know where your next paycheck is coming from being a realtor. It's like always I'm looking out for, okay, what's next? What's next?
Because being a realtor is the same thing. It's based on how things are going.
Yeah. Yeah. And same for you when you jumped into this one. What was that like? I know it's been
So
very
scary.
scary, right? It's not easy decision to make where you're like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah, so scary. But I did feel the comfort is that I have Dan there and he's done it before. And he said, anything you need, if you ever have a problem, even if it's 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you call me and I will help you. And knowing that he's there as a backup, he's like a mentor he is a mentor to me, but knowing that he's there,
It gives you the
it gave me a little, that he's done it before, and that I was buying a successful business. So I wasn't just buying I wasn't buying a failing business. That would be also super scary, that I was going to like revitalize. This was already
up and running.
Successfully business with somebody who was just retiring. So I think that set my mind at ease a little bit. I ran the numbers. I looked at all the financials and everything and made the decision to give it a try. And I feel really, really good about it. I didn't know if I could do all those things. I'm not somebody who understands taxes and, but I have a great bookkeeper, Judy, who helps me with everything. And I have a great accountant, and I just hired a new marketing team that's going to help me with things because I don't know everything about marketing. Just all that stuff. Like, the good thing about owning a business is you can decide who you're going to let help you. And I really enjoy kind of making my team like a dream team and having people that I really trust to help me out. And then I feel more comfortable.
I have a question on when you said building a team, because I'm in the process of building my own team. How do you build your dream team? Like, what is the niche that you are like, this is kind of, do you take chances on people, or you take people on that where you are like, I think this is better?
I've taken chances on people on an individual level, but what I do is kind of go with my gut feeling and my relationships. So I've lived in this area my whole life. Like I said, I grew up in Burke Center, West Springfield, then Burke Center. I went to school at Robinson and Fairfax. I went to Virginia Commonwealth University. So I am a Virginia girl. My family, even my grandmother was born in Virginia.
Oh, wow.
Down in Newport News. But and her mother was born in Newport News. So I am like Virginia several generations back. So I know a lot of people in the area, in the state.
Right.
And I feel I've built a lot of relationships. I like talking to people. I like making friends with people. And I'm not afraid to ask people for like help with it. Although asking for help is a big thing that I've learned too. Like instead of just trying to do everything myself.
Right.
So to delegate responsibility is interesting. I learned that in the bakery because that was really hard for me because I created recipes and then I had to let other people make them. And that was really hard for me because they didn't always do it the way that I
You
would
would
have
do.
done it. But at a certain point, you just have to like, you can correct them, but like if you do that a million times, it's annoying. So you have to just like let it go at a certain point. This is not me making it. This is they're making my recipe, and let it go. And that was actually way harder for me than doing this.
I'm laughing because I'm exactly the same way, because when I'm cooking or when I'm doing something, I want it my way.
Yes.
And while my kids were young, now they're a little bit older, but when they were in the infant phase, I was like, this certain things has to be certain way. And I'm looking over my husband and he's like, you do it then.
Well,
so it's very difficult to let go, but let them take charge and learn also in the cooking
so
or even in
hard.
the business. It's very, very hard.
I made a lot of mistakes raising my kids with not letting them do things on their own. And I realize that now, that I wish that I had let them or taught them or had a little bit more patience, because I am somebody who likes to be in charge and do things my way. And if things were taking a really long time, okay, I'll just do it. Like I would just clean up after them, and I never made them clean up after themselves. And now it's really hard for them to clean up because they don't know how to do it.
Right.
And I think I grew up that way a little bit. My mom kind of cleaned up after us, and I had to learn how to clean up once I left the house and that kind of thing. So I think my kids are kind of all going through that now. And I'm like, I really messed up here. But yeah, I'm sorry. You'll learn, or you'll just be messy. But you know,
You'll be fine. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's a mom thing. Like when you look back and you're like, I should have done this differently. So, but same thing with the business. I'm trying to learn from a lot of my mistakes in the past in different parts of my life and fix them and do things the right way. And I'm making new mistakes, but you know, I think people know my intention is good. Yeah.
I think this is what I tell my kids, that doing mistake once is okay, but if you repeat the same mistake, that means you didn't learn anything from it. So it's okay to make mistakes, but just learn from it and do different mistakes, not the same mistake.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I think making mistake also as a part of business owner is important also for us, because if you're not making mistake, that means you did not try anything new.
That's true.
You are just doing the same thing and you're not growing as well. So it's just in a way of a sign that you are trying something different. And I think all of your vendor, all of your team is so amazing that they understand you so well.
Yeah.
And they know where you're coming from.
They are getting to know me really well. Yeah. It's been a great, I love that. I mean, I just feel I'm so grateful to all the vendors because they're my customers. The customers are their customers, but the vendors are actually my customers.
True.
And that's also a balancing act, because my customers, I also kind of have to police them a little bit. And my market managers have to police them, but they're our customers. So we also need to keep them happy, and I want them to be happy, and I want them to do well. Some of the greatest things, and most of this was under Dan, where his vendors went on to build brick and mortars. Now they're pillars of the community. Some of them have multiple locations. I mean, we look at Rice Culture is a great one that has, I think, 2 or 3 locations now.
Oh, wow.
And they
I just
started
knew
off as
one.
an Eat Loco vendor. Big Kyle's Barbecue was an Eat Loco vendor, and he is now doing the Commanders games and catering for them.
Oh my God, he's huge. So about him, there was one of the Diwali
great.
party I hosted, and I had his food, and that was the first food that vanished.
All the food vanished. Yeah. He's very
He
good.
is
Yeah.
so
He's
good.
excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to have him back, but I think he's too big for us now. Yeah. We had one happen last year, actually, Cloud Fizz, which does dirty sodas. I don't know if you know what those are, but it's like it's actually a new big thing.
It's a very new trend right now.
And they did our markets last year. It was a really nice company, a veteran-owned company, and they started at the markets, wildly successful at the markets, and they opened up a brick and mortar at One Loudon that's been doing really well. Every time I drive by there, it's full of people. So
They are the one. They were there.
they're on the
That
corner.
is so-
That was one of our vendors.
Oh my God!
They started with
They are
us
so
and
good.
very quickly built a brick and mortar. It doesn't usually happen in one season, but they ran with it.
They were really, really good.
Yeah, so there's several like that that have restaurant. Not that a restaurant is always the goal. We have Seven Tea House in Village of Leesburg is one of our. They actually still do our Met Park Market to spread themselves out a little further, and I think they're going to be opening another location at some point further that direction. But yeah, they're one of our vendors, and then they opened at Village of Leesburg and have been successful. So wonderful teas. We just have some really cool vendors. And loving food, I really geek out over the like. You should hear me talk to the mushroom vendor. So we have Ian at Three Cap Farm. You probably know Ian because he's been around for a while. He and I love to talk mushrooms. Like we'll just, yeah. So, and he's great. He's such a character. Like some of our vendors are so fun. And I just really genuinely like them. Like I feel like we'd be friends if I wasn't there. If they weren't paying me to be there. But, yeah.
But I was like, tell me a little bit about your vision for upcoming years for Eat Loco.
Okay, so we have a couple different directions I would like to go. One thing, and we're kind of experimenting with this next month for the first time, I want to do some more individual markets, like a pop-up kind of a market. So we are doing one with Subaru of Sterling next month, July 18th in the afternoon. So it'll be 2 to 6. So it'll be right after our Ashbrook market. I'm still trying to figure out how we're going to get some of the vendors that are doing both over there, but we will. It's going to be a great little mini market. It'll be about probably 20 to 25 vendors, but I kind of hand selected vendors that I thought would go together in a really nice mix and just have really quality products and good food. And so I'm going to try that for the first time. That'll be really fun to do a little pop-up.
Cool.
Yeah, so right now I'm working on permitting with that and everything and getting my vendors in. And so far, all the vendors that I have talked to are just like, yep, we'll be there. We'll be there, and which is great because I thought it would be hard to find people to do an afternoon Saturday market, but they're all jumping at it. So yeah, so I would love to do more pop-ups. I would love to work with like businesses, whether it's companies that have a lot of office workers, and we could maybe put a little handful of food trucks out for them for lunch, kind of pop-up lunch things during the week, or evenings at an HOA doing a food truck night. I would like to help facilitate those. So not on the scale of like every week or huge markets, but maybe just some smaller pop-up events. If you're a school and you want to have a little market for a special event at your school, we could do a pop-up. So that kind of thing. I would like to be more involved in the community and helping out with littler things, as well as doing maybe a couple more bigger markets and possibly moving into different areas of Northern Virginia. I've thought about franchising to other states, but at this point, that's a little daunting to me, but I think that's something Dan would help me with. I think being totally 100% retired, like he might actually want a little something to do, because that's him. Like I was like, are you really going to not do anything? And he's like, no, I'm already thinking of other things. And I was like, we might have some work for you, so I might put Dan on that. But yeah, we would, and he wants to, I think. So
that would be amazing. I already, like when you say other state, I already have things in mind for you. Let's talk.
Yeah, and I even have people in other states that I've already, because I actually, when I was doing my cooking contesting, I met people from all over the country that cook, and they're kind of like me. They like to write, they like to cook, they like to take photos, they like to, and it's the same skill set for running a farmer's market. So I've even talked to some of them about possibly starting a market in their hometown.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, so especially if there's not something like that already happening. Yeah, it's big in our area now. The farmers markets are huge now.
I mean, everybody pretty much know what Eat Loco is and what farmers markets are. I think so. I think you and Dan have made it such a huge deal of Eat Loco and made a mark, because when I enter into Virginia, the very first thing was Eat Loco.
Oh, good. Yeah. Okay, well, that's good to know. Well, that's all Dan, and I give him all the credit for that for sure. Yeah, and we just want to keep making it a household name. I'm not changing the name. People are like, are you going to change the name now that you bought it? I was like, no. Everybody knows Eat Loco. I'm not. You don't want to mess with the
name. I agree. And it's just, as you said, like everybody knows Eat Loco, then why to change the name? Yeah. And I agree with that.
And yeah, outside of Loudoun County, it's kind of funny because Loco is for Loudoun County, but it's also kind of like Eat Crazy. Eat Loco.
Yeah, it goes with it.
Yeah, so it can go anywhere, because I've had a couple of people say, well, now that you're in Fairfax County, are you going to do like Eat Foco? And I was like, no, it's still going to be Eat Loco.
Loco has a ring to it, I think, and that's a good one.
Yeah.
So, do we still have 30 minutes? Are we still rolling? Because I know 30 minutes and we get stopped.
No, that was because it was on a wrong setting, but you can keep going.
Okay, we're good, right? Okay, I just want to make sure about that. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. I was just gathering.
Yeah, you're like, it's okay. Take a break.
Okay. Lauren, I wanted to, like, you share the vision about where the Eat Local you would like to be. What is something you, as an owner, you see all the vendors who are coming in? Where do you see for upcoming years? Where do you see something new, something exciting that might be introducing to Eat Local?
So I'm always looking for somebody who has a unique product or a unique kind of outlook on things. Sorry, let me get my thoughts together here on this, how to say it and have it make sense. I'm always looking for vendors that have a unique perspective and have a unique product. So I could have a million coffee vendors, but if I have a coffee vendor that really has honed in on, like, this is going to be our brand, we have unique flavors, we have some cool products, our packaging might be a little different, that kind of thing. I'm looking for that type of person that's really thought it all the way through. But also, like, different, we love having ethnic food at Eat Loco. We pride ourselves, that was something that was a big thing for Dan. He didn't want you to just be able to go and get hamburgers and hot dogs and pizza. And not that there's anything wrong with hamburgers and hot dogs and pizza, we all love that. But we can also get that at other places. But the great thing is right now you can come into our market and you can get Jamaican food and you can get Dominican food and you can get Guamanian food, which is really cool. We have a Guamanian vet, and I learned how to say Guamanian. But you can get that, and you can get Chinese food, and you can get Japanese food, and you can get Korean food, and you can get just anything. We have a lot of Turkish vendors. I mean, I love that we have people from all over the world. We have we have two new Egyptian vendors that both make koshery, but they're at two different markets, and so they can each do it at their own market. And it's delicious. I don't know if you've ever had that.
No.
It's so good, and it's usually vegetarian. One of the vendors has added some meat to it if you want, but it's a vegetarian. It's very healthy. It's got lentils, and it's so good. So we have some unique foods that I had never had. I'm pretty well traveled, and I'm pretty well versed in most food, even from around the world. But when they stump me and they bring something that I've never had before, I get excited. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, something different. That's what makes people come to our markets, I think. You can try lots of different things.
True.
So I'm not against having a hamburger vendor, for sure, but it's something that they'd have to be doing an interesting take on it. Right.
True.
Yeah.
What is something, if a viewer is watching this today and they are a small business owner, what something that you can give a tips or advice to them, and how can they start?
Okay. So there's two different points at which they can call me. And I talk to people on the phone all the time. Sometimes I spend hours with them on the phone. I'm not afraid to do that. I think I like helping people get started. However, I would like for them to come to me if once they already have an idea of what they're going to make. Because sometimes I have people that come up to me and they say, I want to have a booth at the market. And I'm like, great, what are you going to make? And they're like, I'm not sure. And I'm like, no, you have to know what you're going to make first.
That's not a great way to start a conversation.
No, like if you approach me, at least know what your menu is kind of going to be. Like know that you're from Guam and you're going to have Guamanian food. Or know that it doesn't have to be that exotic. It could be, my mom has we have a wonderful vendor, Cake Faith, and her mom has this pound cake recipe that she handed down, and it's top secret. And she took her mom's pound cake and she even tweaked it a tiny bit to make it even better, and that is her base recipe, and she uses that for a lot of different things. So, I mean, something like that with a story is great. Not everybody has that, but even if you've researched, we just had a new vendor come on that makes do-it-yourself squishies, like fidget.
Oh, yeah.
And people can build their own squishies. And I was like, we don't have anybody else doing that. You're coming. Yeah. And so that kind of thing. If it's something that I haven't seen before, I'll take you. And I'll help you develop it. So if you don't have signage and you don't know, you haven't even bought your tent yet, that's fine. We can help you with that stuff. You have to be willing to do a little bit of paperwork. Usually they have to do a certificate of insurance. It's not that hard to do. Right. If you're a food vendor, you do have to go through the proper health channels. So one question I get a lot, and I feel really bad, is like, I make this at home. Can I just bring it to the market and sell it? Not usually. There are Virginia cottage laws, and I would want anybody who's a baker can look up the cottage, or not just baker, it could be pickles, preserves, candies, things like that they can do under cottage law. Dry mixes, herbs, spices, things like that are fine under cottage law. We do take cottage law vendors. However, they have to be following the cottage law to the letter of the law. And I'm more nitpicky about that because it's something I've done personally, and I know how quickly that can go wrong. And there's a very important reason we have those laws, and that's to protect the customers.
Of course.
So, but if they do, we have a lot of vendors that work out of commercial kitchens, which I understand is an expense to them, and this is why some of you are paying more to eat this food, because they have to pay to go to this kitchen to make their food, and also they have to buy their ingredients. And when you're and I don't mean to harp on this, but I think it's an important thing for people to understand. When you're not a grocery store and you're not a big chain restaurant, it's more expensive to buy your ingredients because you're not buying it in scale, bulk. Yeah. You might be able to get it at Costco, or you might be able to get it at Restaurant Depot, but it's still not like what these big restaurants have. So it costs them a lot of money to run these businesses. They have to also pay for their equipment and their gas and their, staff and everything.
There's so many things.
Their outfits, their, everything that they have to pay that goes into their business, their signage, their packaging is expensive when you're not buying it in huge quantities. Even in huge quantities, it's expensive. And I don't think people realize that when they spend money at the market, they are supporting somebody's life. It might cost you a little bit more. It is going to cost you a little bit more. Not outrageously so.
Right.
And some of them are very reasonable for what they provide. Most of them are. Yeah, are very reasonable. And the ones that seem a little bit more expensive, it's because they need it to be that price to make their living. So when you do spend money at the market, you can feel good that you are supporting somebody and their dream and their company, and you're help keeping them in business. So it's really important. We buy a lot of stuff at the market, my family. My husband comes every week with either our kids and our dogs, or just the dogs, or just the kid, or whatever. He comes, he buys a bunch of stuff. I go around, I buy a bunch of stuff. We come home, we've bought all the same stuff. It's really funny. But and I try to buy different things from different vendors. Yeah.
To support. And it is mainly, the farmers market is about supporting your local vendors, supporting the local business owners and that, right? So it is, I agree with your point, where it may cost me as a customer a little bit, but that is going to supporting somebody, their home, their business, and that is important.
Yeah, and you're also getting some entertainment out of it. You're coming to the market, you get to walk around, enjoy. Sometimes we have music. I am trying to do more special events, especially at our new Reston location. We're doing Pilates every other week. Mat Pilates. We have Body Bar Pilates in Reston is doing that. We've had some people interested in doing yoga at Brambleton, so we will have more of that type of thing coming up.
More exciting things.
We're going to do some Father's Day giveaways. So we're trying to do some fun things. We try to have music as much as we can. If there's any musicians out there that want to play for us, we would love that. We have some amazing musicians too that play regularly for us.
I will ask my kid to contact you.
Your kid's a musician, okay. What do they play?
My kid sings and play piano, and one kid play drum.
Oh, nice. So they could be a little band.
Sure, at your own risk. Sure. If you are having a farmer's market where you are like, okay, it's too much, I want customer to go, please hire my kids. Sure.
Well, my youngest plays the accordion, and he's actually really good, but he won't play it in front of anybody, so... But he's amazing, and I would love to have him play. We do have an accordionist, though, a different one, that comes and plays, and it's great. So we try to have different musicians. Too.
That is awesome.
to give a little variety.
Music, I think, gives a really good environment when it's playing and walking around. I think it was at Ashbrook, probably. We used to have over there when I was working at Eat Local. It was just giving a very different vibe and environment for everybody.
Yeah, we
It's
do
really nice.
try to have musicians at Ashbrook and at Reston, and then sometimes Brambleton will have musicians. It's a little bit smaller, so it's hard to place
Yeah,
them sometimes.
true.
But yeah, we definitely try, and we don't have a sound system over there, but we have a little bit at Reston. So yeah, so we're working on all of that stuff, trying to make it a more interesting interactive environment. Oh, another thing that I would like to do, and I didn't when I was talking about pop-up events, we do have this relationship with Amazon that's wonderful, and we would like to do a STEAM event for kids where I bring in different vendors. They bring in some people to do science activities because they have a group that does that, and it's going to be really cool. So in the future, far future,
Right.
I'm hoping to do that.
That is going to be amazing.
I think it would be really fun because when I
wow.
was a parent, I mean, I'm still a parent, but when I was a parent of
Yeah,
young kids, I would have taken them to something like that because, it's educational, it's something
Exactly.
fun they can do as a family, go out together, do some of that, maybe some art projects,
That would be
arts and crafts. I mean, I was an art teacher, so I like the A in STEAM. STEM is great, but STEAM is awesome. Yeah, so I want to do things like that for the community. I really just personally am dying to do like a Wizarding World sort of event.
Let's do it together.
We could do that.
Will be.
It's one of my. I did a birthday party when my middle child was. I want to say he was 7 or 8. That was huge, and I did so many. I made wands for everybody and all that stuff, and I just love doing that kind of thing. So.
Okay.
I used to throw very elaborate birthday parties. Okay, yeah. I feel like we have a lot in common,
Let's
Purva.
do it. Yes, I agree.
But I would like to do more kids event. One of my things is that I think the kids need more to do that's interactive, not just on the computer, not just on the phone. They need more in-person events that they're going to and enjoying.
I agree.
Because I know with my own kids, they just kind of, especially during COVID, they all got used to just being home on the computer all the time. And this gets them out in the community. I know some of our communities do a great job. Brambleton does a great job throwing like a community event.
Events and everything at the library.
Yeah, they do like a Oktoberfest, I think, and different things at the library. But getting kids to actually do that. Yeah, so sometimes it takes the whole family's going to get in the car, go to the farmer's market. It is a great activity with kids too.
I agree. I think it will be amazing where the vision, the way you are, the passionate you are, and
I
the
love
vision
doing
that you
these.
are saying, I can already see that it's going to be one of the greatest market over there for sure.
Yay. Yeah.
Lastly, Lauren, is there anything that you would like to say to vendors who are looking to get into the market or any customers who are trying to come into the market? Is there anything that you would like to say to our audience?
Customers and vendors can go to eatloco.org, eatloco.org. And there's a spot that says Become a Vendor. They can click on that if they're curious, and they can read through all of our information to get pricing and schedules and markets and what's available. A lot of times I do get questions about that, and I usually just send them to the website to look at it first. And then after that, if they have more specific questions to their business, they can give me a call or an email. And all my information's on the website, as well as customers. If you're trying to find a market, you can go to eatloco.org and you can look at all of our different locations. Yep, and that's about it. And feel free to send us any questions you have, any suggestions. If there's a type of vendor that you're dying to have at your local farmers market, let me know, and I will try to find them. There's certain ones that are really hard. Dairy vendors are really hard to find.
Really?
Yeah. It's just there aren't that many in this area. There's some in Maryland, but whether they're willing to make the trip down, it's hard. So that's something I'm actively looking for: a dairy vendor.
All right, all the dairy
cheese,
vendor, please.
Yogurt, ice cream, dairy. Yeah, anything like that is great. Yeah, there's certain gaps that I'd love to fill. But yeah, we pretty much have a really good, well-rounded market at each location. We try to hit all the main categories of food. Yeah.
That's great. My last question, because I get this question a lot from people, that how can we volunteer at Eat Local?
So we actually, and this is something I learned from Dan, is that we could take volunteers, I guess. Like, I would love to have, if somebody wants to do something as like a little summer internship or something like that. But we do pay our staff, and the reason we do that, and this is Dan's words, so they have skin in the game.
Right.
And he always said that, like, I don't let anybody volunteer because then they can just say, oh, I'm not coming today, and it doesn't matter because I'm not getting paid and I'm not on a schedule or whatever.
They don't feel responsible.
They don't feel responsible.
Coming.
Not to say that because I volunteer for different organizations and I do feel responsible, and that's
different.
That's one thing. I volunteer with the Fort. I don't know if you know the Ryan Bartell Foundation, and I do cooking classes for the Fort, and I've done that for years, and I do feel really responsible for those. I have one coming up for their summer camp, but I mean, summer camp. But anyhow. Yeah, so we don't generally have volunteers. Not to say that we couldn't have a volunteer once in a while, but they can always contact me if it's something that they want to do.
If they're looking to get involved at Eat Loco, they can connect with you. And
definitely, yeah.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Lauren. This has been a really great episode for me. It was great to know you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure getting to know you.
Same, and thank you for doing this. Thank you for taking the time and talking to us today.
Sure.
To everybody out there, today we learned about how important it is to just help out a small vendor. Today we learned how owning a business is not just about being luxuriously sitting in one cabin and doing it. There are lots of small pieces that goes behind it. There are lots of pieces, hard work that goes behind owning a business and running a business. If you are somebody who is just starting and you would like to get in touch with the farmers market, you know where to find her. If you are somebody who is looking to support a small business, you know where to find all different markets to support them. If you are somebody who is just starting a business and you are wondering it's too tough, you are somebody who is just struggling to get the feet wet a little bit, reach out to her, reach out to me. We are here to help. We are here to guide you as much as we can. And thank you so much for listening to our podcast today. We'll see you next time.